I lived in a stone cottage at the edge of the village. Wife to the blacksmith. Quiet. Devoted. Invisible. He had been gone 3 weeks, northbound, trading horseshoes for salt and coin. The nights had grown colder since, quieter too. No fire crackled the same without him. Then one morning, just before the frost came, a woodcutter knocked. He asked for water. I offered him bread. That was it, bread. But in this town, a woman's kindness with a loaded weapon. The widow next door saw him leave. She told the priest I had taken a man into my home, that I had defiled my marriage bed while my husband was away. By sundown, I was summoned before the elders. By nightfall, I was condemned. They didn't even let me change my clothes. 2 guards appeared, faces half shadowed by their hoods. They grabbed my wrists like I was some drunk thief caught in the market. No words, just fists and dragging feet. Mud swallowed my shoes as they marched me through the streets. Behind windows, candles flickered. People watched, whispered. Some shielded their children's eyes. Others just stared as if my ruin were a sermon. I kept waiting to wake up, to feel my husband's hand on my shoulder, hear his voice say it was all a dream, but no one came. They led me beneath the chapel into the keep, a place colder than any grave. The air smelled of mold, old blood, and secrets sealed in stone. Each step echoed as if my feet were already being buried. The chamber had no windows, just torches burning low, and a wall lined with tools, hooks, chains, claws, and there, hanging like some beast's fong, was the breast ripper. At first, I thought it was from my husband's forge, something used to bend iron. But then, I looked closer. Each curved tooth was serrated, cruel. It wasn't a tool. It was a sentence, and I was its meaning. The torturer was already there, a thick-necked man with scars carved into his arms. As if pain had tried to own him once, and he survived it. He didn't speak, just watched me. Watched as the priest stepped forward, robes swaying like a judge above a grave. He opened his book and began to read scripture, something about Eve, something about temptation, words meant to cleanse sin. But here, they dripped like poison over an open wound. I barely heard him. Only one line stayed. Her body must tell the truth. Then the ropes came. They tied my wrists above my head, pulling until my heels lifted off the floor. The rope bit into skin, into dignity. My gown was yanked down, not gently, not with ceremony, just torn. My chest bared to the cold, to the torches, to the judgment of men who never once saw me as anything but a vessel for sin. The torturer stepped forward, both hands clutching the claw. I couldn't breathe, not from fear, but from knowing what was about to be taken from me. He raised it slowly. Let it hover. Let me feel the breath of cold iron on my skin. Each fong whispered the same thing. You don't matter. Confess, he said. Tell us his name. Tell us what you did. I did nothing, I gasped. Nothing. The claws pressed against me. Not hard, not yet. Just enough to promise what would come. I screamed, not from pain, not yet, but from knowing I would never again be untouched. And then he closed it. Iron sank in. Flesh tore. And in the space between agony and disbelief, my voice vanished. At first, I made no sound. The pain was too complete. It swallowed language, breath, thought. But then he pulled, sharp and deliberate, and something inside me shattered. The scream that followed wasn't mine. It belonged to some animal buried deep beneath my ribs. It ricocheted off the walls like a ghost that had been waiting centuries to be heard. But they weren't done. He let go. The ripper dangled from his hands, slick with blood. He looked at me, just looked, and asked again, speak, but I couldn't. My throat had closed. My lungs burned. I tasted metal, maybe blood, maybe fear. Tears streamed down my cheeks, mixing with sweat, with shame, with the raw horror of being reduced to nothing but pain. I didn't plead. I didn't beg, because mercy is not the language of men who carry iron. He pressed the claws to the other side. My whole body seized. And this time, I didn't ask them to stop. I asked them to kill me. Let this be over. Let me vanish before I made into ash. But they did not stop. They never do. The second rip came like lightning. White, blinding. My body vanished behind it. I couldn't feel the stone floor or the ropes or the air. Only the light inside my skull and the sound. The sound of myself choking on a scream that had no shape. When I woke, I was on straw. Blood soaked the front of my shift, my arms still bound above me. The torture was gone. In his place stood a priest, murmuring scripture over what was left of me. They say, I confessed, that I gave them names, but I don't remember speaking. I don't remember any voices, just silence and iron. They say, I admitted to luring men, but I had never touched another soul. But my husband, it didn't matter. My body had spoken. And the wounds, they were their proof. For 3 days, they left me in that cell. No medicine, no bandage, just a stained cloth to cover myself and a bucket for water. I did not cry again. There was nothing left inside me to give. When they finally opened the door, I was not Evelyn. I was a lesson. They didn't just scar me. They marked me, branded me just below the collarbone, adulteress, carved with fire into skin that had already been torn open. As if the wounds weren't enough. As if pain alone didn't prove their power. So no man would forget. So no one could ever pretend I was clean. My husband never returned. They said he died on the road. But deep down, I don't believe it. I think they told him everything. Not as a warning, but as justification. See what she was. See what we did. We had to. And so I left. I walked into the forest and never came back. Found shelter in the bones of an old hunting shack. Its roof half gone, its walls like ribs around a broken heart. The villagers don't come near. They whisper about the cursed woman in the woods. Some say I went mad. Maybe I did. But I listen always. And when I shear whispers about another woman, too bold, too free, too much like me, the ache returns, a hollow throw behind my ribs, a ghost clawing at old scars. Because the wounds never really leave, not the ones on the body, and certainly not the ones deeper. Still, sometimes the girls come curious, trembling, wide-eyed. They knock, not knowing if they should be afraid, and they ask me, "What happened to you?" I don't answer right away. I let the silence stretch. Then slowly, I unlace the top of my gown just enough. They flinch. Some look away. Others weep. And I say, this is what they do when a woman says nothing. This is what they do when a woman says too much. This is what they do when you are guilty or simply born a woman. I am Evelyn. I did not die that day, but something inside me did. And in the hollow it left behind, I carry something heavier than grief. I carry memory not of faces, not of names, but of heat, of iron, of silence turned into screams. And I carry it so no one forgets. They tried to erase me, to grind me down to a whisper that wouldn't be believed, to silence my body and my truth with rusted metal and sacred lies. But here, I remain in the woods, in the shadows, in the breath between generations. A warning, a witness, a scar that speaks. Because every time they raise their voices against another woman, every time they whisper, accuse, drag, and brand, I feel the claws again. Every girl who asks me why, every tear that falls from eyes not yet broken, every question about survival, silence, and shame I answer without words. I show them the truth carved into me, the truth they cannot burn away, and I tell them they rip my chest to silence me, but I remember, and so will you.